Up next, we've got Dr. Lester Henry of the University of the West Indies. And today, Dr. Henry presents on the digital economy, a roadmap for digital transformation in the Caribbean. Happy Friday to you, Dr. Henry. Are you with us? Yes, you are. So happy Friday to you. Thanks for being with us. And it's all yours.
So today I'm going to present on the digital transformation and mobile operators, what can be done. I listened to some of the presentations before me, and I know that a lot of you would be familiar with a lot of this, but I'm going to put my own take on it. The previous speaker who talked about digital transformation just about half an hour ago, Ms. Nikima, did a somewhat of a micro analysis as I'm an economist, as you can see. I will do a sort of a macro perspective from how I see this thing is developing and what the challenges in the Caribbean from where I sit, right? So once again, a previous speaker touched on this, but I'll just repeat it to make people emphasize where I'm thinking and how things are going. Right, the process of digital transformation, as we all know, is a huge subject area. It's something that is very important, and we can't rest on our laurels with this, because this is how the world is going. The process of using digital technologies, I just gave two examples to create new, modify existing business processes, culture, customer experiences. To meet changing business and market requirements, right? This is a key. Once we have a good understanding of what we're dealing with, I think most people will find it easier to proceed. The re-imaging of business in the digital age is what is called digital transformation. Another variation of the topic it involves integrating digital technologies into every area. The speaker from St. Lucia, Digital, also talked about had the nice case study there with excellent stores here in Trinidad and Tobago, which basically encapsulated this whole approach here, integrating digital technologies into every area of the business. When she talked about getting rid of paper as one of the key objectives that drove the digitization, the digital transformation of excellent stores. This is as much as a cultural change as a technological one. And I like this particular definition, especially in the Caribbean, as you will see later on. One of my pet peeves, I think, is this whole notion that of our attitude towards change, and especially technical change in the region. I tend to disagree with some of my colleagues on some of these issues. So it requires organizations to make fundamental shifts in the way they operate and how they deliver customer experiences and benefit. And I've heard a couple of speakers already this morning talk about the customer-driven approach. So basically, in some circles, digital transformation is all about customers. It begins and ends with the customer, right? As we know, the opportunities for digital transformation are humongous, can be quite a revolutionary development in the way we do business and the way we operate and the way employment is created, as in the previous speaker which talked about some of the jobs that you might apply for or younger people may step into a few years from now probably would not be existing as we speak here today. So we could get into expansion of services with digital, financial services, which is one of the big drivers of digital transformation, right? Incumbent operators can enter the banking business by making use of their operational infrastructure, extensive branch networks, technology, allow them to act as both access mechanism and a seamless user interface for navigating, right? And this is one of the issues I find that we haven't gone as far as I think we should have in the Caribbean, is the integration of the telecom sector and the financial sector, right, in terms of providing a better service for customers, for the public. We can increase mobile network operators can use mobile money, right? Key thing, and most of you are already familiar with the issue of mobile money. New services to customers have already served, they already serve, sorry, and compete for customers on other networks, because there's still a fairly large number of unbanked people, and this represents a huge potential. In the Caribbean, we don't have, like in many other developing countries, a lot of people who have no access to banks. In the Caribbean, we tend to have people, most of the population have access to banks. But what happens is that these banks they underutilize the banking sector for a number of reasons which we can discuss. They tend not to make full use of it, except to go and cash checks or very minimal transactions. So we can also see potential benefits from new revenue streams. Additionally, if the mobile network operators collaborate with fintech enablers, they can provide product offering, reduce churn, retain digitally savvy customers, and diversify revenues. Now, these things, nothing I'm saying here is new, but I need to emphasize it to get people to understand that while these things have been around, we don't see the evidence of our companies making maximum use of these things as yet, and that's one of the things I want to stress here this morning. And also you have social benefits through increased financial inclusion and so on. Payment services allow cheaper way to extend financial services to more women and individuals, rural, hard to reach areas. As you all know, cheaper, lower cost delivery channels make services more accessible and can increase membership. So these are some of the main issues that mobile network operators can benefit from and improve business and create new markets. Now, one example of this that I will just spend a few minutes on, there are many examples. We can talk about the digital divide in terms of access to computers and so on, and the gap, how we can fill those gaps as well. But one of my areas of interest is the development of mobile money. As an economist, I've been trying to keep abreast of these issues. And users can carry out financial transactions, including making peer-to-peer transfers, bill payments, of course, all these things, especially remittances. And again, in selected countries, microcredit is also offered. So digital money, or mobile money, I should say, not digital money, is something that we could see develop and create a lot of new jobs, and also, in fact, in some instances, help with poverty reduction. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are quite proud to boast that their interventions in the promotion of mobile money in Africa, for example, where it is quite prevalent, has reduced poverty in some countries by about 2%, just using mobile money. The only basic requirement, of course, is a cell phone. Financial inclusion has been increased along with higher mobile penetration rates. And as we know, penetration rates in the region are quite high, right? There's been an increase in the Caribbean and Latin America in registered accounts to do mobile money and so on. Guyana and Jamaica in the Caribbean are particularly a little bit ahead of the rest, I believe, in trying to implement or within the development of mobile money, with growth, significant growth happening over the last few years. Over 26,000 registered accounts with 4.4 million transactions valued at 23 billion US dollars, and made 7.8 transactions, million transaction valued at 21.3 billion US. Now, what is more valuable is to look at, see how the growth rate of the use of transactions involving mobile money has gone in the last couple of years. I don't have data for 2021, but you can see the growth rate in Guyana and in Jamaica from 0.5 of 1% in 2017 in Guyana to 0.7, 0.89, and last year, just when the pandemic hit, a significant rise in the value of mobile transactions in relation to GDP, gross domestic product, over a relatively short period of time. And as was pointed out before, the COVID pandemic, of course, accelerated the use of online services, online technology, and would have contributed to the speeding up of digital transformations in many, many enterprises and countries. Jamaica, we see likewise a consistent rise in terms of mobile money transactions as a percentage of GDP. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have a significant amount of this mobile money transactions as yet. And it's not surprising that Guyana and Jamaica would be probably ahead in terms of the English-speaking Caribbean, not counting Dominican Republic and Haiti. In terms of the transaction, because of the significant amount of remittances that takes place with those countries. Where are we in the Caribbean from a macro perspective? As I said, the speaker from Digital looked at the micro problems with digital transformation with their excellent survey of that she mentioned of businesses in terms of where they are and some of the problems they face with digital transformation. Now, from a company point of view, that was excellent. But what I look at is the larger picture in terms of the potential obstacles to further and more rapid digital transformation. And I put these as questions because I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just making reference to these things to ask the question, why are we not further along? Some people may say, well, okay, do we have monopoly power on the part of digital providers and they're happy with the situation, they're making money and everybody's comfortable, so there isn't a bigger push to get into new markets and to provide new services and to enhance the customer experience. So I'm not saying that's true, I'm just saying that is one possibility that may come up. Other people may look at the government and say, well, maybe it's the government fault that the government is not providing the right leadership and maybe the right policy framework enhance digital transformation and to speed it up. Because we in the Caribbean, as you know, many of you know, we, in terms of just day-to-day activity, online payments, telephone banking, and these things are still relatively a good way behind a lot of the rest of the world. And it's interesting to think about why is that. So, because I'm sure most of us think that we're pretty cool. We're not backward. We are fairly tech savvy and so on. So how come this thing hasn't taken off, right? And another factor would be, well, is this a cultural thing? I mean, as you know, one of the complaints about the foreign banks is the Caribbean is that people like to line up to go to the bank. And they can't understand why Caribbean people have no problem standing in line to go to a bank. So they have been trying to get more people online to do online banking and so on. And of course, the COVID tragedy that has befallen all of us for the last 2 years has basically helped out in that regard, in that it forced more people online and less crowds at the bank. And the previous speaker, of course, who talked on digital transformation, talked about possible lack of skills, lack of understanding of what it is that really is required to have this digital transformation, right? Because of course you need people with technical computer skills and so on. And do we really have that level of at the basic school leaving first degree type, secondary school type? Because you don't have to be a high-tech expert to be involved in digital transformation. You just have to understand what it is about and the benefits you can get and have basic computer skills in many regards, right? Understanding of what the benefits of this. When I say understanding, I'm not blaming any company or firm or operator or anything like that. I'm just saying that on the part of the people, that we may not understand the full benefits of what is involved if we all participate in digital transformation. I know in the case of Uganda, recently the Bank of Uganda trained almost 2,000 young people to go out into the countryside and educate people on the benefits of using digital technology, especially when it comes to financial wheeling and activity, financial literacy, to help them plan how to save, how to invest, how to just basically simple money management. One of the questions I also asked is in terms of our size. At small Caribbean countries, at an advantage or disadvantage? Can we use our size as a benefit or as a hindrance to complete digital transformation? I ask this in the context of, for example, some of the first countries that really completely transformed themselves digitally, like Estonia, Latvia, Singapore, places like that, were very small countries, you know. And I feel strongly that our size should have been an advantage in terms of transforming. And I'm not talking about just transforming private sector businesses. I'm talking about transforming the society as a whole, right? So our size, in my view, should have been a major benefit, not a hindrance, right? To digital transformation, but it's still taken a long time for some reason for us to really grasp it and understand that given our dependence on things like tourism and raw commodities, oil, natural gas, these things, and the Caribbean has been struggling to diversify since our existence as independent state. And this technological revolution, if we had pounced on it the way Estonia and some of the other smaller countries of Europe and Singapore, maybe we missed the boat on this one. And I think it's something to consider from a larger perspective, right? Now, on the part of the regulators, I know there are also regulators in this grouping, that, you know, one of the things we can do, at least, is to promote the issues and make regulators understand that they have a critical role to play, not just telecom regulators, but also financial regulators, and the interplay between the two that is necessary to ensure a good customer experience for our populations. You know, so regulators can expand facilitation, develop agent networks, and get the right mix and the right monitoring tools and the right set of guidelines to keep these things in check, so that you don't have a free-for-all and a tremendous amount of fraud and so on, as they has developed in some situations with the explosion of digital transformation, mobile money, and etc. Right? Ease regulatory burdens on mobile operators, ensure privacy and data security, develop the right framework for that, and also ensure fair competition. I know this is a budding issue for some telecom operators at the moment. Ex post versus ex ante regulation of telecom operators. We can talk about that if people have questions. And the interoperability of telecom operators mixed with financial entities, because eventually there will have to be some kind of synergy and some interoperability also among different mobile money companies, right? Because you don't want to have people having a different mobile account with every operator out there in the market. Right? So keys to digital transformation, and this is my final slide. Predicting digital technology and business model trends. This is not my original. I have the references at the end of the presentation, so you can see. It's from the Institute for Management Development in Sweden. Predicting digital technology and business model trends and understanding the dynamics of digital disruption. And that's very important, because when we can look at all the good things that digital transformation brings, but we know every new advancement creates some level of disruption. Setting up a digital transformation to succeed, navigating organizational dynamics that often derail transformation. And that's where the micro study of the survey from Digicel could also be very useful, things like that. And to get businesses to understand that they must adopt some kind of realistic approach and understand that their own processes, business culture or whatever, could be the main obstacle for achieving better business opportunities and maximizing more profit. So adapting people, resources, processes, and organizational culture to embrace it, and anchoring digital transformation to support ongoing performance, conducting digital responsibility and sustainability, right? I hope at least some of what I said is somewhat provocative, and I'm open to questions and comments as we go along. Thank you. That's it for my presentation.